before the competition, we would just remove all the body hair. That's the next level of friendship when your best friend is shaving your back. Because I had like everything else like waxed and like all the hair removed. The last evening she was in the bathroom just shaving my back.
Hello, and welcome to What It's Like To, the podcast that lets you walk in someone else's shoes and live vicariously through their unique experiences. I'm your host, former journalist Elizabeth Pearson Garr, and each episode I'll be asking a new interviewee all the what, why, when, and wheres of how they do what they do. If they can do it, so can you. Each episode on this podcast, we bring you a guest who's done something that most of us haven't done or won't ever do in our lives. I can say that today's guest certainly fits that bill for me. I, for one, will never be found on a stage in a bikini, posing and flexing in front of an audience and a panel of judges. My guest, however, does that all very well. Silja Paulus is a bikini fitness athlete and an athletic mindset coach. Silja, welcome to my podcast.
Welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm so happy to have you here.
And I'm so happy that I can also talk about something that not so many people do. And that's also one of the main reasons that I'm actually doing it.
Can you describe for people what it is? I said very quickly, you're in a bikini and you're posing, but it is bodybuilding. But it's not bodybuilding the way that we sometimes picture men with like the really, really big muscles. It's kind of fine-tuned.
Bodybuilding is it's just like the wider term. So this is what is happening in the gym. So I would say the preparation is still like bodybuilding because I'm building my body and I'm fine tuning it and I'm losing the fat tissue and I'm gaining muscle and also learning to pose. But on the stage, my category is bikini fitness. So for women, I think there are some figure and wellness categories, but the women also look more muscular. But bikini is one of the more feminine styles of fitness. Fit model would be even more, but in bikini, it's not about super big muscles. It's more about the proportions and having like this hourglass figure. So you have like wider shoulders and back. The glutes and legs are a little bit bigger, but the waist has to be more narrow.
So there's specific kind of proportions that you're supposed to fit into or a specific image you're supposed to look like?
Some kind of image, but it's also like very subjective sport because the judges, they will also look at everybody who's on the stage. So it also depends on like who you're standing next to and how you like compare to the others. So there are not like any measurements. There's no weight category like when having bodybuilding, for example. Maybe some years the softer look is more in trend. Some years the leaner look is trendier. Depends on the taste of the judges. But actually on the stage, it's also about the whole package. So you also need to know how to pose and how to actually show off all these muscles and this shape. Because if you have maybe a very good proportions, but you don't know how to show it, that's also not working.
And so it's kind of like a beauty contest also. It's how you present yourself.
Yeah. And the makeup is also very important, the hair. So I remember last time I was competing a year ago, I had makeup and hair like 4 a.m. in the morning. Then I had registration for the event 8 a.m. I got the spray tan around maybe 2 p.m., 3 p.m., but I got on the stage maybe 6 p.m. So it's a whole long process.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'd like to talk to you about the actual competition because there are some really amazing things that you went through to prepare. You mentioned some of it, getting up to do the hair and makeup. So
actually, one thing that I haven't talked about a lot is also the posing. So I'm very lucky that my trainer is also a posing teacher. And so other competitors also come to her for classes. So we were just training together, but we were also doing a lot of posing lessons. So walking in the heels, posing in front of the mirror, without the mirror.
Yeah. We should mention that you're in very high heels, aren't you? 3-4 inch heels.
Yeah, 3-4 inch heels. Yeah, I'm much taller with these.
Yes.
And in real life, I'm mostly, I don't know, running shoes, sneakers, some flat stuff because I'm tall already. I don't feel like wearing high heels. I want to be comfortable. So when I first started doing it, I would have shaky legs. I had leg cramps and everything because it was so alien for me. But at
Yeah.
some point, I was also just walking around in heels at home when I was cleaning because I was like, okay, I need to practice. I need
Oh
to
my
feel
gosh.
comfortable in this. Also, when I look at the videos from my first year and second year, the second year is much better. I'm already moving much more gracefully and not stumbling. And
You were more comfortable.
yeah, because if you look at the bikini fitness girls on the stage, it looks like so natural, so easy. It's like just flowing and smiling. But actually, you're like sucking your stomach in. You're like, yeah, I'm so happy. Nobody can see how peaceful it is. But because you're like sucking the stomach in on the stage, arching the lower back a lot, which for me is also like very unnatural because my back is not naturally going this way. And then you're like trying to move very gracefully, elegantly. So it's a lot of work also to practice this, but it gets better with time. And with all these painful posing lessons that I had with my trainer.
And how long are you on stage posing?
So it's just a few minutes maybe.
Wow, all that work for a few minutes.
Yeah, it depends. Sometimes there's no finals. Sometimes we just walk on the stage, all the girls at once, in one line. Then we take our positions to the front pose, side, back, other side, front again, switch places. So the judges can also see the different positioning of the girls and they can better compare and then do the poses again. But sometimes you won't go with others, but I would just go on the stage alone, walk there, do some kind of special routine that I practice with my trainer that is supposed to be easy for me and also show off the best sides of me. So I would do something with the hair, do some posing, turn a little bit, and then everybody else would do the same, one by one, coming on the stage, and then we would do again the comparison and the classical poses like front, side, back. Backstage, there's also some other interesting stuff happening. So usually the backstage is covered with a lot of like plastic on the walls and on the floor because everybody has this stand on and they don't want to ruin the floors or the walls. So everything is covered with plastic. It looks like a refugee camp or something. And backstage, people have the yoga mats and blankets on the floor, just maybe just chilling, trying to preserve any energy, or maybe they are already carb loading. So that's the day when you're actually supposed to eat a lot of carbs. So people are eating like rice cakes, gummy bears, candies, all the stuff that was kind of like forbidden at a certain point. So
Yeah.
backstage, it's time for sugar, it's time for candies.
Oh, why?
The carbs actually give like the muscle pump.
Oh, so
So
just
before
that very day, the day of the
Yeah,
event, you can
yeah.
eat
Before that,
carbs.
it has been very restricted, but the very day is like, oh, candies and whatever crazy stuff. So that was also a shock for me. And also,
Wow.
people are using small weights backstage, just pumping the muscles a little bit, not doing heavy reps, not doing like personal bests, but just pumping up a little bit so they would have a very pumped looks on stage. So eating carbs and also pumping up, and also maybe practicing in front of the mirror the poses, getting
Oh,
ready mentally and physically and in every way possible.
what an interesting scene. But it might be hard to even get ready physically if you're sort of feeling a little brain foggy after all these months
Yeah,
of deprivation.
actually, when you're eating candies backstage, you don't have the fork anymore, and there's also like some adrenaline and yeah, the competition day. So all these carbs
Yeah.
are getting super high. It's like, oh.
And about a month before, you scrub your body with dishwasher soap or
No, the dishwasher comes only in the last day. But the
oh,
month before, there will be scrubbing every day because it's also about preparing the skin for the spray tan. So every day I will apply a body scrub and I will also have to put some lotion on. So the skin will be softer and ready to absorb all this spray tan. And also before the competition, we would just remove all the body hair, arms and shaving the back and everything.
wow.
So the first year when I did it, my best friend was also living with me, and we were joking about this. It was like, okay, that's the next level of friendship when your best friend is shaving your back. Because I had like everything else like waxed and like all the hair removed, and then the last evening she was in the bathroom just shaving my back before
Shaving
we.
every last hair except what's on your
Yeah,
head.
yeah. Everything on the hair is necessary. All the hair. I also had hair extensions because this will make the hair thicker and longer, and it looks so much better. And of course, all the extensions and the eyebrows. That's important, and also the nails. It's a lot about beauty as well.
It is.
And about the
So
dishwasher thing, actually, that's like the last day. So the night before, we will put some kind of pre-tan So we will put like the first layer of the spray tan all over the body. And in the morning, I would just go to the shower, take some dishwasher liquid and wash it off. So there will still be like a thin layer of the tan on the skin, but the dishwasher liquid removes all the grease from the skin. It makes it a little bit dry as well.
And then
But
you
because
smell like dishes.
I smell like fairy, yeah. But actually, this prepares the skin for the tan. So actually, the last year I also had very good tan because of all this. Because the night before we were applying like one layer. We were two girls in a hotel room, and our trainer was then with the rolls. He was just painting us all over, and it's like completely normal to stand in the middle of a hotel room completely naked, and somebody else is rolling you with everything.
With the tan. So that's how you're doing the
Yeah.
tan? Someone's painting you?
Yeah, yeah, that was like the first layer. But on the competition day, we also get like the spray one. So on the competition day, I would go to a special booth that they're like spray tanning everybody. So the first year, it was actually men and women in the same room. So the first year, I just opened the door, I had like some robe on. Then we went to the tanning room with my trainer and the girls and opened the door. Okay, they're naked men. Whatever, I don't care. And at this point, it's like everybody's already so focused, so you don't even care the naked bodies because everybody's also looking very good, bodybuilders.
Wow. All of
And
these muscular naked bodies getting tanned.
yeah, yeah, all these brown bodies. I think there was also some guy even spraying me with that, and then the guy is just telling, okay, bend over, okay, whatever. Because in this situation, this is completely normal and it doesn't feel sexual or anything. It
Yeah.
feels super normal. And after the first layer, we would have to go and stand in front of this big ventilator, like fans, and just get dry, standing in front of the fans and just waiting. At the first year, when we were in a small room, my trainer also had a small hair dryer. So we were just standing there. She was just with the hair dryer trying to get us dry faster. And then we would get the
So
second
funny.
and then there's the second layer, and they also apply a special mist that's like the anti-green, because if you start sweating, the brown tan can actually turn green, and then it will look like Shrek.
Yeah. Look like
And actually,
Shrek,
yeah,
except
actually,
a very cut Shrek.
so under the arms, actually, I had a little bit of green because you still maybe sweat a little bit, but you're not like supposed to touch anything or sweat, and just be very calm. Just a few minutes before going on the stage, we would also apply some oil so it would look shiny.
Wow. So you're doing all this to your body, and then you're getting tons of makeup put on too, and your hair
Yeah, yeah,
all
the
done.
makeup is already on from the in the morning hours. Makeup and hair. So when we go tanning, we usually have the hair in a net, so it's covered, so it wouldn't ruin the hair with the tan. Everybody has like very heavy makeup on, and then it's like somebody spraying you with all this paint. And then you also put on this very shiny bikini that also has a lot of rhinestones on, and it's very, very shiny and colorful.
And is the feeling really competitive, or is it kind of a supportive environment?
It's more like a supportive environment because
Mm.
we've all been on a diet for a very long time, and it's like, yeah, I know what to feel. I would say it's a very good community.
And then after the competition, are you just dying to, I don't know, eat or drink what you want, or are you exhausted, or how do you feel
Mm,
afterwards?
I would say that I didn't eat anything crazy after this. I was just like, okay, it's done. Okay, what now? The last time I didn't do so well, so the next day I was also a little bit sad. I was disappointed in myself. So the next day I ate like 100 grams of butter, two ice creams, all kinds of crazy stuff. For one day I was just like going crazy and I wanted all this fatty stuff. I was just eating. I just had butter in my hand. I was just like biting and like, butter, yes, fat. And my body was just craving. But at some point, I'm like, I actually like my vegetables and I like my chicken, so I want to go back to this as well.
It's probably hard for a body to adjust to
Yeah,
suddenly eating tons of ice cream and butter after you've been off it for so long.
yeah, yeah. I did it like on the day after, but after this, I was like, okay, let's go back to normal.
Wow. Let's go backwards. So I think you ran like 20 marathons in your life, right? So you were a serious runner, but you
Yeah, I
wanted
was.
to have a different kind of challenge.
Yeah, I was running for like 10 years. I used to be a long distance runner, so I was doing marathons. Right now, I'm also wearing like a marathon t-shirt with the Estonian flag on it. So that's my
Yes.
country. And after 5 years of running, I thought, that, okay, I want to do this more seriously. So I got myself a trainer. I had a physiotherapist. I had a plan. So my marathon times were improving very much. and I got pretty fast, and I was quite satisfied with my results. So at some point, I also realized I can't run faster than 3 hours for a marathon. So my best is like 3:15, which is quite okay. But if I can't run under 3 hours, I will never get like any medals at the Estonian Championships, or like I won't go into the world. And I'm getting tired of this. So at the same time, I was doing a little bit of the gym on the side, but I was only doing gym to support my running. So I was doing less weight and more repetitions, runners strength training kind of. At some point, I realized that just running a marathon and doing long distance is not extraordinary enough for me because so many people can just run. I was doing it quite well, but I was like, okay, I want to do something that actually makes me grow a little bit more. So, for example, runners very often say that, yeah, I can eat everything because I'm just gonna run it off. As a nutritionist, I'm like, but what about optimal well-being? What about actually feeling very good in the body? And what about going even further with your performance and nutrition? Because I think if pay more attention to the nutrition, they could be healthier, more energized, more optimized, and they could even run better. So I was like, okay, I want to do something harder. I kind of like the gym, and I know that in bodybuilding, the nutrition is very precise. And then I realized that, okay, I'm not going to improve in running. Let's just switch and let's see what's going to happen.
So how did things switch? What did you start doing that you hadn't done before?
So when I'm at last marathon, I told my running trainer, okay, I'm gonna be back very soon. But a few months later, I was okay. I'm actually going into bodybuilding. So I contacted another trainer. I met with her. She was okay. Let's do this. I was like, can I be ready for the spring? It was like December already. She was, no, 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 no. Next year, October. So bodybuilders also have
Take your
like,
time.
yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I've been going to the gym like for a few months already. Can I go already? She was, no, this takes time. And actually, she knows what she's doing because recently her students also won the world championship. So
Oh,
she's very
wow.
good. She's very, very good. And she said, yeah, next October, maybe, let's see. Let's just start doing stuff. And we started training together. I was following her plan. And she could also see that I was actually growing quite fast. So once a week we also trained together. Other times I was just doing it alone, but according to her plan. I had this very good pace as an athlete already, so I was used
From
to
all the
like,
marathoning.
yeah, I had like very good
Yeah.
endurance.
But it was
So
not as much cardio and more weightlifting? Was it like a lot of repetitive strength training?
yeah, it was more like weightlifting. We were doing cardio only the last 2 months before the competitions, and we were doing cardio only because I wasn't losing as much weight as was needed. So that's why we also started adding a little bit of cardio at the
I
end.
see. So the goal is to get very toned muscles. And to get that, you also need to change your diet, right? Because you need to see the definition in your body.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
right?
So the first half of the year is usually growing. So it's growing the muscle, but it also means gaining some fat. And after this starts the diet, where we're like losing fat and revealing all the muscle that is underneath the fat tissue as well. I think the first year I was dieting like 4.5 months. Second year I was on a diet for like 6 months just to lose the fat. But before that I
Wow.
was also gaining, but also gaining fat, not only muscle.
So what were you eating? What was your change? What were you doing without or what were you adding in?
I wouldn't say that my diet was super different because I'm also like a nutritionist, so I was eating quite okay already.
Hmm.
But I think what she introduced was mostly less fat in the food, and we were also increasing protein because the muscle needs to grow. And I think also started eating a little bit less carbohydrates than I was doing before, and the main focus was still like on the protein. And when I was at the end of the diet, she was also telling me not to eat too much dairy and also eat less gluten because these are the kind of food that can also make the body inflammatory a little bit. And this means like more weight again, and the body is also holding onto water. The last week we were also reducing salt intake because salt is also keeping the water inside and it will look like fluffier. And the last months I was also not allowed to eat protein bars because they're sugar free, they're full of protein, but they also have like a lot of different things inside. If you look at the ingredients, it's like a long list usually. And in the end, I had to eat much cleaner food, not like sweeteners and any additives. But somewhere in the middle of that, I was experimenting a lot with different sweeteners. So I had like 10 different flavors from the My Protein store, and I was going crazy with them. And sometimes when I didn't have many calories left in my day and I wanted like something good, something sweet, I would just take some whisked egg whites, add some flavor drops, maybe gingerbread flavor, and then I would just fry this. So I would have like egg white omelette with flavor drops, and that was like my sweet
Oh
dessert.
my goodness.
So
Flavor
it's like,
drops. I don't even know what flavor drops are, but it doesn't sound
it's
very
like
appetizing.
yeah, it's like sugar-free, calorie-free, but it has like a flavor, it has taste, and it's sweet. At some point, I was going crazy about this. I had like apple flavor, mango, coconut, gingerbread, salted caramel, toffee, mocha. I'm not craving this anymore. But at some point, I was
Wow.
eating them quite a lot. And I think many people in the fitness world drink a lot of these sugar-free flavored drinks. I was also doing that at one point, and now I'm tired of this as well. There's also a lot of energy drinks being consumed, but also, of course, you can do bodybuilding in a much cleaner way and just eating normal food like chicken, cottage cheese, like normal proteins, vegetables, rice. You don't have to go crazy with all these supplements. That's also maybe like a marketing trick to have all the supplements in.
Yeah, maybe just stick to the whole foods.
Yeah,
Might be.
that would be easier, but it's also like tempting to, you're like, oh, I can have all these sweet things like protein bars and protein cookies. And it feels like, okay, I'm still having all this nice stuff, all this sweet stuff, but I'm not getting any sugar. Yeah. But actually, I'm also starting to think that, okay, that's actually not like real food because if you look at the ingredients, it's still a very long list and it's not very natural for the body.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't know, in a hurry and maybe tired, it's like, okay, this protein bar looks really good. Or this sugar-free, whatever flavor ice cream, yes. But if you look at the ingredients, it's actually like, is this like real food?
So is it just shortly before the competition that things get pretty intense and you have to
Hmm.
start working out a lot more and restricting food a lot more? When we were in touch earlier, you had said that you started getting brain fog and all that start that your body starts maybe reacting a little negatively to all of
Yeah,
this.
yeah, it's like maybe like the last month because the fat percentage is also going very low and the brain needs quite a lot of fat to function properly. And at this point, the body fat percentage is going low, the brain is not getting enough energy, and sometimes, like in the evening, there's no energy to do anything. So I was doing my training and everything early in the morning when I still had energy, and the evenings I could just be like sitting and I don't even want to lift the hand. And if somebody wanted to do something with me, I was like, oh, no, I'm not coming anywhere. I'm just no energy. And the brain was getting quite slow. So at this point, I was also working in IT. And I think the second half of the day, I was like sitting at the computer trying to do some tasks. I was like, okay, what was I doing? What was the sentence? I can't remember. I don't know.
All for the goal of the competition date.
Yeah, the last month can be quite tough because the body has been in a constant energy deficit for many months already, and now the fat percentage has gone quite low, and it's still going lower and lower. I'm not giving enough energy to my body, and it's like,
How realistic is it to stay in that for very long? I mean, do some people stay competing for years on end? I know that you've talked about seasons of
mhm,
competing,
mhm.
preparing, not competing. Can you talk about that?
Yeah.
I don't know that it's healthy for the body to stay in that state for very long.
Yeah, that's also very contradictory because there are few people who can stay in this shape for a long time. One of them is, for example, Ashley Kaltfas. She's like a professional bikini fitness athlete and she has won like, I don't know, what's the number now, 35 pro
Wow.
competitions. So in the whole history, she's the athlete who has won the most titles, even more than any Schwarzenegger or any of these big guys. And she's staying clean and very close to her competition shape all year round. And for her, it seems like it's kind of easy, but maybe her body is very used to being like this.
Mhm.
But most people, especially for women, it's not healthy to stay in this very low body fat percentage. But I think it's also very individual. For example, my body doesn't want to be in that shape the whole year. That's also why I took this year off from competing because after last year, in a very short time, maybe like 6 months, I gained like 15 kilos, like 30 pounds. No. Anyway, I got to my heaviest weight in my whole life after the
Mm.
competition quite soon. And I wasn't eating too much. I was still working out 5 days, 6 days a week. And I was like, okay, what's my body doing? It's like just collecting all the food and not letting go of anything. I'm like, what the hell is happening? So right now,
Interesting.
yeah, and I also like lost my period for 6 months. It stopped a little bit before the competition, a few months. So competition was in October, and the period I got it back around Christmas.
Mm.
So my body was not functioning in a healthy way, and it was telling me, no, this year you need to stop, you need to rest.
Was that worrisome to feel like you lose your
Yeah,
period? And
I think I was more worried about just gaining all this weight off because I lost my period also in the first year. Then it was like maybe 1.5 months and came back. So when I lost it for 6 months, I was like, okay, it's gonna come back. I was quite sure about this and it did.
Mm.
But I couldn't just understand and explain all this weight gain. I was like, when does it stop? How big am I going to get? I'm still moving. I'm still working out. And it's started feeling uncomfortable. And now it's actually going down. So I'm still training. I'm also running a little bit and I feel quite strong. And I can also see that, okay, my body has made peace with me and it's kind of going down. But as I also studied as a health coach myself, and my approach is this holistic approach and actually talking to your body. I also learned to talk with my own body through this process of learning and also coaching clients. And now I'm also listening to my own body more because at some point maybe I wasn't doing it. I was just forcing and pushing it just to be a certain shape because I was supposed to be at a certain body weight at a certain time, but I wasn't
Yeah.
getting there, and that was giving me frustration. And I actually finally started to listen to my body and ask, okay, what do you actually want? And also started to kind of apologize to my body and saying, okay, I will promise to give you nutritious food. I will take care of you. I will nurture you. I will listen to you. We will rest. So it was quite a journey, I would say.
Yeah, and a great life lesson that all of us can learn from, even if we're not gonna go to the extreme of being a bikini fitness athlete or something or
Mhm.
lose all that weight. We can all just be gentler to our bodies and
Yeah,
listen to what they need and when you need nutrition and when you need rest, and maybe it's not gonna be the size that you want it to be right away, but just listen to yourself and be kind.
yeah, that's the biggest lesson for me.
So you mentioned that now you're in a season of not competing this year, but you think you'll compete again in the future?
Yeah, I think in about a year's time I will do it again because I think that there's more to do. I can get into
Mm.
better shape. I can really go to next level. So that's what I want to do. But the next time I would also like to do it in a way that is more enjoyable. So I want to hack this thing as well. See if it's possible to do the bodybuilding diet and everything without feeling like I have to die.
Mm.
So I would also like to know how to do that. I don't know yet how it's going to be possible, but I want to try and I want to find a way how to do it in a healthier and lighter way and also have more fun on the go.
Well, I think if anyone can do it, it's probably you because I think you have a really interesting perspective on it. You know, you're very thoughtful about
Yeah.
being mindful and an athlete. And I've read some of the things that you've written, and I think you're
Hmm.
very motivating to yourself and
Mm.
to others. I like this one thing that you wrote. I just like to read it. It says, "No one else is responsible for my goals. No one else is responsible for me showing up. No one else is responsible for keeping it going. It can mean being different from others, but this is how you become extraordinary. They don't need to understand. They don't need to accept. This is for me. I choose me."
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. Thought that
Yeah,
was
because
really encouraging.
yeah, I think it's when you're also doing bodybuilding, sometimes you have to say no to other people to say yes to yourself. So that's what I had to do. Mhm.
What do you think is the biggest misconception about bikini fitness?
Maybe people think that, yeah, it's so easy, everybody can do that. Go lift some weights and put on bikini, but actually, all the work that goes behind this, the posing, it needs so much practice and so many hours. It looks easy on the stage because you have been practicing so much, but
Yeah.
actually, on the inside, you're like shaking, and maybe the trainer is also backstage shouting at you, stomach in, press up, and arch your back, because she was doing that as well. I could hear her voice. She's like, "Stomach in, smile, smile, come on!" And actually, from the backstage, you can see the other competitors. The legs are shaking, but if you look from the audience, it's like, "Oh, yeah, everything's fine. I'm having fun." It
They
looks
make it
so,
look easy because of all the practice.
yeah, it looks so effortless, but actually on the stage, both think it's very hard.
Yeah, I'm sure. Oh, there's so many elements that go into it. I think that that's
Hmm.
part of what makes it fascinating. There's the
Yeah,
fitness
yeah.
part, and then there's the eating part of it, and then there's the mental part, and then there's the beauty part. and the posing.
Yeah, actually, with my trainer, at some point we were also like discussing what's the look that we are going after this year, and we were talking about the bikini colors. This is also something that is usually not revealed before competition. So the first year I had pink bikini, second year I had the purple. The color is a big secret before the competition, actually.
Wow.
Because otherwise maybe your competitors will know what you're wearing and they will want try to be different, to stand out, and yeah, it's also a thing that is not talked about usually.
One more element in your toolkit that you can pull out.
We also have some jewelry, so we have some bracelets on the arms. We also have a big earring, so they have to be coordinated with the bikini and the whole look, and they have to be like super big and massive because it's part of the look actually. And with my trainer, we were discussing what should the hair color be. So I've always had kind of red hair, and before the competition, she said, okay, maybe you can color it a little bit golder, kind of pink. So I started coloring my hair like raspberry tone. So that's also part of the look.
Well, this has just been so fascinating. This is a world I knew nothing about, Silja. So thank you so much.
Now you know so much more, and you know that there are so many different layers actually to it, and it's much more than just lifting in a gym. This is just one part of it.
And what a process. You know, you really had to set your mind to something, but anyone can do it, it sounds like, if they have the drive and determination to do it.
Yeah. And I think it also requires some mindset. So if you get your mind right, it's much easier. Then you don't have to look for motivation because it comes so naturally.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate all your time and all the inside information. You really took us backstage at the competition.
Yeah, some crazy things I have done in my life. And I will do it again.
My thanks to Silja Paulus for opening my eyes to a whole new world of fitness bodybuilding. Here are some of my takeaways from our conversation. Number 1, Mom was right. Practice does make, if not perfect, then progress. Silja may have had to walk around in high heels even to clean her house, but it worked. 2, there are no shortcuts. Put in the work day after day, week after week, month after month. 3, you can tell who your real friends are when they're willing to do something like shave your back. 4, listen to your body. Treat it well with the right amounts of good nutritious foods, rest, and exercise. Some crazy things can happen when you don't. And finally, number 5. As Silja wrote, no one is responsible for me showing up, but this is how you become extraordinary. I choose me. To learn more about Silja, her bikini fitness competitions, or her work as a health coach, check out the show notes for this episode. If you like listening to interviews with athletes, you might be interested in episodes 35 and 36 with former pro baseball player Joe Biagini, and episode 38 with former NFL quarterback Jake Locker. Thanks so much for listening. I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe to this podcast if you haven't already, and tell a few friends about it too. I'm Elizabeth Pearson Garr. Thanks for being curious about what it's like.